Hey, what's up, guys? So it's looking like my goalie tutorial is going to be a closed sidewall, but I understand some of you guys might want the other one, like the American stick, and I think I got a sneeze, which is why I'm making a lot of weird faces. Um, so what I figured I would do in this video is just kind of show you a half-assed way of how I did the double sidewall eclipse. Um, So, with that being said, here it is. So basically, if you think about it, this type of pocket is kind of like a corner pocket on a short stick. Um, in that you have kind of the mesh runner in the middle, which this is still full size piece of mesh. That's just because goalies like bags. But um, basically, what you want to do is with this runner that comes down here, you're going to want that tension just like as if you're doing a like a custom with a leather. I've even seen this same pocket with a leather runner down here. Um, I've used the leather before. It just seems too stiff. Um, but I've used it both ways. I've used this type of pocket all throughout high school. Switched over to the full mesh look in college, and basically fell in love with that style. So that's why I switched to that. But another thing I like to do is right near the top, because this top shooter usually takes a beating. I put a nylon just because it's lighter, won't absorb as much water. It's also pretty strong, so it'll hold up to that constant like beating up there. So um, that's another way I did it. And then these like this runner basically up here where they have the top string hole, I put the runner through that so you get the straightest, path down the head. And then I ran it straight through this bottom hole down here, and then to one of these three holes over here. Yeah, some goalies will say they don't like using that because if you're holding this head right here, you're also holding the knots. But just like you had to get used to holding the bottom of the head when you're making sure you got a good grip on it, you kind of got used to the fact that it wasn't the octangular, whatever the hell it is, way of a lacrosse shaft as you were growing up. You're gonna get used to holding on to a couple knots. It's not a big deal. But this crossing pattern, it's basically just like if you were doing a traditional, um, you know how you do the interlocks. Basically, it's the same thing. But the pocket, it's not the deepest it could be, but I did it for a friend. He didn't want a super bagged out pocket, so I changed it up. And you can tell up here, they start off really wide from the mesh. And then down here, I start kind of putting them a little closer. And that's just to hold the shape. And then that way the ball doesn't have as much travel, kind of like you do with a um, custom head. You kind of tighten it up near the bottom so that the ball will sit right there in that defined pocket. So you kind of do similar things with goalie sticks. It's just a bigger head. Not all the same rules apply, but just like when you're learning a short stick, you're learning how to string it. How many of you have put the sidewalls in, hated it, pulled the sidewalls back out, put in another one? It's just part of stringing. If you don't have a set like pattern that you've already written down, like if you're an inexperienced stringer, you're still trying to learn it, you don't know all the patterns, you're naturally going to be pulling the strings out, pulling your hair out, slamming the counter, just frustrated as whatever. It happens. You just gotta, chill, relax, get back to Zen, and chill. And then go back to it. If you have to set it down for a couple days out of frustration and cool off, do it. As long as you don't need it for that night, you know. But back to the head. These sidewalls, basically, if you've ever done a custom, you know you usually put the sidewalls in. You know, somewhat the pattern matters, but it kind of doesn't too. And then as you're doing the crossing pattern, you kind of figure out, you know, what's going to cause the pocket to be where you want it to be. So, you know, this is just simply the trad, the traditional, you know, interlocking crossing pattern to make the diamonds. So if I did like a triple sidewall, this mesh obviously would be deeper, but I would run another one through like up here, do another runner, and then run between the mesh and sidewall like you would on a normal traditional head. But I haven't seen too many people doing it that way, like the full, like you have actual diamonds like right here. It's usually this. Some college players are switching back to that. It really is a preference thing. If you're an attackman that's trying to switch over to a goalie head, and you're used to those super tight channels, you're probably going to want this guy. Just because the way that this is strung, it automatically will create a channel. So, or if you're super sweet and like this, as you can tell, that's got a channel. So, I mean, you know, it's whatever. If you do have more questions, just message me. Alright, hopefully this general overview of how I did it and answers some of the questions you might have had about it. Otherwise, just message me and I'll hook you up with some answers the best way I can. Alright, otherwise, just try to contact me on Facebook, Madlax Strings and Sales. Madlax Strings is all one word, and then I think I separated and sales. So it kind of looks stupid. I may switch it up just slightly. But, yeah, that's how to find me. Alright? Talk to you guys later.